Alright, so this is the round of 8. Once we get to the round of 4, we'll follow every game because there will just be one group and we'll re-rig. We have 3 camera rigs. So.
4 timmar kanske, 4,5. Tävlingen är inte slut än.
So Tilt Arcade Bar in Oslo, Norway. I think they have 9 shuffleboards or something. It's a huge place, a ton of arcade machines. Pool table, bubble hockey.
Star Wars pod.
Yeah, the Star Wars pod arcade machine. It's upstairs.
I missed it completely.
And then, all the new machines, old machines, 90s machines.
We've got a custom-made arcade.
There's a custom-made arcade machine here that's, I think it's called Terror Squid or something like that.
I really thought I was misreading Squad the first time I saw it. No, Terror Squid.
Alright, so are we doing Monsters or are we doing Black Knight?
I mean, we got
Monsters is starting.
Happening, so we got Morton stepping up here.
Yeah, one of those Czechs bubble hockey machines.
Okay, you played it a couple times. What's the general strategy?
So, bear with me here. Okay, so you get the Herman multi-ball pretty quickly. I think it's like 3 or 4 hits on Herman.
Okay.
So shooting the dude, and then he grabs the ball, and then there's a hurry up, and it kicks out another ball. Yeah, it kicks out another ball, and you hit the Herman the ball, and it starts a 3-ball multi-ball. If you don't get, let's see, he survives this. The tilts have been pretty liberal, so if you don't hit if it times out, it just releases and you have a 2-ball multi-ball. And then I think people, obviously they go for jackpots, and they also, I think, try and bring in Lily, which is on the right there. Each hit adds a letter. The letters time out after a while, but if you spell Lily, it starts a frenzy mode. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the bubble hockey is actually really fun. It's a fun little game.
Is that like
the hockey game like what
the
Christian
one that's
has?
in Olso?
Yeah.
Is that one modded to be an American team and a Swedish team?
I mean, you could buy it for. I think the default team on it then when you bought them was American. You might have been able to customize it.
Okay, I always feel very torn when I have to choose which side to play for. No, I don't. I would play for the American team.
And then they would have whatever the local team was the other team. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice control here from Morten. And Morten is a local player, so he should have had some time on this machine. And they had a pro here first for a month or 2 until the LE arrived, and now they just have the LE as far as I know.
What happens to the pro? Does that wait in a broom closet somewhere?
Sometimes they keep it for the collection, I heard. Sometimes they get rid of it, or sometimes they get rid of the LE if the pro is better, depending on the model.
So is he the grandpa shot that he's going for right now? Does that send it to the lower blade?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So grandpa's basement, you can see the light is on in the basement. There's the scoop is like lit. So 7 million, not great, but we've seen 200 million on this, and we have seen 2 million on this. So. The default is no ball save from factory on this, so there is no ball save. So people were avoiding the super skill shot, or one of the super skill shots.
And here we have Yemi, who is a Swedish player.
Yep. Often plays in Borås, Sweden. He does the Herman strategy as well.
How backhandable is Herman?
I don't know. I think I would post transfer, but there we go.
It's like a lower hanging.
Vengeance multi-ball, maybe?
Oh my goodness, what is happening?
What game? It's been a long weekend.
I'm thinking of Metallica.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess.
But it's probably,
like Sparky, but yeah,
it's probably more like the Spider-Man.
Doc
Ock. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't have to be like anything, I guess, but I'm trying to find a frame of reference. The thing that I find most important when I'm playing a new game for the very first time is whether it feels like there's any flow to it.
You don't like stop and go games?
No, I do not.
I generally prefer flowier games too, but I like some. Like I think Wizard of Oz is fun. I think Simpsons is fun.
Yeah, that's weird that you think that.
Oh.
I thought he was going to nudge it back in.
Yeah.
Här har vi spelordningen för båda grupperna.
Okej.
Så de som spelar Munster kör ju där raden och de som
okej.
spelar Bärklacken kör där.
Ja, då kanske vi har ju tredje riggen på.
Just nu Spiderman.
Okej.
Så det kan hända att vi missar den.
Okej.
Är det
Så de
Star
vill
Wars?
inte- Ha?
Ja, Star Wars.
Okej.
Ja. Så det är de Game of Thrones, eller Guardians, Deadpool och Star Wars kan hända att vi missar för de vill inte att vi skulle bryta
Ja.
när vi får flytta.
Okej.
Ja, men det är viktigare i finalen sen att vi kör alla spelen i rad och så.
Hej, får
Okej.
jag fråga? Harley Davidson med i tävlingen?
Nej.
Okej, så Harley Davidson, Time Machine också eller? Det är också borta? Eller?
Men det verkar som det
Nej,
är
tror jag,
mycket
men det är eftersom de väljer själva så...
Okay. The players choose themselves the games at this stage. They're not drawn, so
no one's gonna choose Time Machine?
or Harley Davidson, Valley Harley Davidson.
In the round one, I had to play both of those machines and Deadpool. I was like, oh, we've been chosen. Okay,
So here's Peter.
he'll give us an education.
From
Great
Denmark.
player from Denmark.
I believe he put up 180 or something, and then 100 in his qualifying on this. They apparently have this in Copenhagen, and he has put some time on it. So he's playing downstairs, so he wants the 2 orbits. The mystery is valuable as well. But you want to finish Grandpa, so you want the orbits and then the machine and so on to actually qualify it for
Ooh.
Monster
I
Madness.
really like the clarity of having an actual countdown.
I do, and I like the separate flipper buttons. I think that's interesting. So now he starts multi-ball downstairs, and he gets more time at it, I believe. So I think it feels better than Stewie's playfield, because I played Family Guy as well this weekend, and maybe that's because it's a 12-year-old game, so there was some juggling there.
I also have to stand on my tiptoes to really play Stewie's playfield, or Donkey playfield. Really.
Yeah, I guess.
Slapp savea på mini-playfield.
Alright, so he's upstairs. So he's doing the Herman.
How many hits the second time, by the way?
This is the first
Yeah.
time though, right? I don't know. Well, the second time I think it's just a point hurry up. I don't think you get multi-ball the second
Oh,
time,
really?
but I could be wrong. I don't. Some of these games I know really well, not this one. I played all of 3 credits on it.
Yeah, you said 3.
Yeah, a 2 in qualifying and 1 in the round of 16. And then you can like build up the zap jackpots when the button's lit, and the zap jackpot. You can also use the button to cancel your super jackpot. I feel like we're the least qualified to commentate this particular machine.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. But after this, it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy for one group and Spider-Man for another group. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens after this one. So, and with this setup here now, we have Black Knight, which we also are not super familiar with. So it's sort of rock and hard place. So we chose hard place.
we chose the one that started first.
Yeah.
Man, he is always in control of the ball. It's incredible.
Yeah, sometimes with new machines, like there'll be little things that once the game is in people's hands that, oh, that's actually too weak, or I don't know, the spot target needs to be, the wire needs to be soldered back on, or whatever, I don't know. This one's been working fine during this tournament weekend at least, so. And I assume that if you disable spot in the rules that it will, a ramp shot will count. I don't know. So there, he has the kitty target lit. He's actually shot it twice already. So I think it's every time you play a character, the kitty target lights. It's sort of under the ramp up by the bumpers, blue triangle insert
Okay.
or arrow insert.
Yeah.
And each hit gives you playfield multiplier, so he's trying to hit it there before it times out. So you can see the 3x blinking right by the right flipper, but it's going to time out.
Oh, and he did not like that.
Yeah. Raven multi-ball.
Sounds like a Danish profanity, and Swedish profanity is really similar.
Let's see. So he's back to 3x though. So the next major tournament in Sweden, we have a couple of big ones over the summer. There's one at Matchstick Pinball in June that I think is a 64-player match play tournament.
Last year that tournament was really phenomenal.
Yeah, that was good. And then there's one in Borås in July. But I think the next really big one is in Borås in September. That'll be 100+ players.
I think 64-player tournaments
No,
pretty
it's
big.
good, it's good. But then we have the Swedish Championships in November, which usually ends up with about 300 players.
Is that going to be in Lund again?
Yeah, that's in Lund, Sweden this year. So.
Cool.
All right, let's see what he does here. So I think he was the second qualifier on this, no, the number 2 qualifier.
It seems like this game has a nice flow. Or it has a nice flow when Peter plays it. I couldn't tell if he was going for the orbit there or going for the ramp.
Now he really wants to keep hitting the kitty target to maintain his multiplier. Oh, no, didn't quite get in there. This could be huge if he gets in with the multiplier running.
He's going for the 5x?
He's going for the super jackpot.
Oh, I see.
Before it times out, now he's gonna...
Oh, that was way early. Because it wasn't going for that.
Yeah. So let's see if... Now he keeps going for spot. Oh, he has to... Does he have to relight it? Oh, he has to relight it to get the 5x maybe? I don't know. We'll do better next game, I promise. Unless the next game is Black Knight.
Does he have to hit kitty again to get it to 5x? If anybody knows, please make us smart.
Yeah, well, he has 5x now. He has the 3x and the 2x are running, so I think that's 5x or is that 6x? I don't know if they stack or multiply. But he has to. I think he has to hit kitty to reset the timer. Yeah, the November tournament is enormous. Like it's insane to have a 300-player tournament. Especially, it's also a closed tournament. You have to be Swedish or living in Sweden permanently to be part of it. It's a remnant before the IFPA. Now, because it predates the IFPA by 20 years, and then countries can have their national championship can be a closed tournament. And some countries do that, but not all.
It makes sense in Sweden in terms of, you can have almost 300 people in that tournament just with Swedish players. Yeah. But I think the reality is that there are a lot of people who essentially only go to that tournament.
Yeah.
Who maybe otherwise don't compete.
Or they compete a couple times a year or something, but they definitely go to that one because it's such a big event.
But I guess people could find that to be a reason why, it should be, if it's mostly, I don't know, it's like the Pinburg of Sweden. I really like it.
Oh.
Wow. He should really know this machine too.
Yeah, I think he had really good scores as well.
Tips.
All the Danish players were doing really well on this machine. Does he have to wait for a ball save? A ball search? Oh, they released it. Okay.
I was watching Deadpool. I was playing Deadpool with Ed from Denmark, and he could not get it into the scoop. And then when it had 2 rejects, and then when he finally got it in, it had done a ball search.
Oh, so it didn't register.
So it
That's
didn't
why it didn't register.
register.
We had that one up on the stream, and I was like, why didn't that register?
So
that makes sense.
Bizarre. And that's why I was doing short plunges for that, because actually the pop bumpers were getting it in there. It was rejecting a lot otherwise.
Oh, they're stuck in the pop bumper, so they'll have to wait for a ball search. Wow, 2 stuck balls and 1 multi-ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
so is this
Will
a
Martins,
chance to?
so.
Is this? Ooh.
Oh, I think he moved the camera, not
Okay. I was like, how
not
did
the
he
game.
not? When a ball is stuck like that, is it a chance for you to rest, or is it like an irritating pause when you want to keep going?
If you have timers running and they don't stop, maybe you don't want to wait for a ball search. It really depends situationally.
Oh, we solved the mystery of who blew up Attack from Mars. Yeah, this is Bo. He's a great Danish player.
Yeah, Denmark has a really strong crop of players right now that have been doing really well recently.
Well, I mean, you can see they all play an incredibly controlled game. I liked that this tournament had so many countries represented.
Wasn't it just 3?
What are you talking about?
Or 4?
America makes it 4.
Yeah, there were a lot. I went to this tournament last year and we were about 50 players, and this year I think we were 70. So the tournament has grown. There were more foreign players. More people traveled to the tournament because it got a really good reputation after first year. This is the second year they're running it. And they also did a really cool thing where the winner in each tournament of the 3 main tournaments gets a full hotel weekend and entry into the tournament for next year's tournament.
Hotel stay for 2.
Yeah.
I was the hanger-on because I did nothing last year.
I got a free weekend this year, which was nice. But in Maine, I actually think the top 2 get free hotel and stuff next year.
Wow. Ooh.
Random multi-ball. Is the 3X running? It's a danger.
It was a well-spent danger.
Let's see, he's struggling for the scoop. Ah.
Just a little bit early. There it is. So the strategy or this idea here is to get the orbits first?
Yeah, the 2 orbits. You can also get the mystery, which is also lit. I mean, it's basically shoot any lit shot, and if you get the orbits, it lights the machine in the middle. There we go, and then that starts multi-ball downstairs.
I love that so much that you get a multi-ball there. Okay. And what is the? I assume that the mystery is the one that's kind of.
Oh, it has
one
a question
over
mark.
from the.
It has a question mark.
Okay, and then the green light. What is that?
I don't know. For the right ramp, yeah, I actually don't know what the green light is. Oh. 22?
Are we gonna move the camera? No. In this bank earlier, there were 2 machines side by side where the players did a slide save toward, like the machines were
Yeah, they were
almost
basically
touching. The legs were touching, and you really couldn't play it. You couldn't play it without probably flipping the other machine, even if there wasn't anybody else playing there. So
Yeah, the tournament director came over and very, very gingerly moved the machine.
yeah, like
one
opened
of the
the
machines.
coin door and then slowly slid it back.
Yeah, Stern has changed the way the coin door works because with like games like Tron, you could just open the door and that disabled the tilt, and then you could, you know,
Move it back.
move it and then close the door after the tilt is settled. All right, Morten. Morten's in 3rd right now with 8 million.
Man, that first ball took a long time, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the Danes seem to really have this game down.
The ski pass is not.
Oh, thank you. The right ramp gives you
it
more
adds
time.
time.
Okay, that's good to know. I was shooting and I was like, is it not registering? And then when I lit it for jackpots or whatever down there, it did register. So I was like, oh, I must register. All right, let's see if he takes this. Yeah, he does, but so
He
you
looks
can.
unhappy.
You can,
or-
well, he only had one of the jackpots and it wasn't worth that much. So he could have canceled it and waited till he was in a better position.
What would you have done?
I mean, this early I probably would have canceled it because I'd only played one thing, and But I mean, I'm not there. I'm not playing.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy gets the skill shot. Nice.
Oh, that was beautiful. Textbook.
Jimmy actually won a tournament, a fairly sizable tournament, last weekend in Gothenburg, Sweden. He took me out in the final.
This is the person who blew up Mars.
Bo, en av de danska spelarna, han blew up Mars i tävlingen igår kväll tydligen. And I believe this weekend is the first time Jimmy has played this game as well. None of our local places have it. The theme is basically unknown in Sweden, at least. I don't know about Norway. I don't know if I know they've sold a few. I know a few people who have them, including us, but not in our local area.
I think there are like maybe 4 Swedish people I know of who have bought one.
Yeah, so they might have sold 10 then. There's always like people you don't know about who has them, so.
I'm into it.
Yeah. Whereas with a theme like, I don't know, Iron Maiden or something, it seems like everybody
Iron
bought
Maiden
one.
was essentially, I mean, tailor-made for the Swedish market. Like, not literally, but really, it really works out that way.
Somebody once, I'm not that versed in the different cultures, but somebody once described, I mean, Iron Maiden is much more popular than Metallica in Sweden. They're sort of reversed, whereas in America, I think Metallica is more popular than Iron Maiden. But
how many In Flames machines would sell in Sweden?
Probably a lot. I've never seen a Munsters rerun. I'd never heard of.
I only saw
in America, I've seen it a few
on
times.
TV Land. That used to play like kind of after school, but before any of the primetime shows.
So I mean, it might have run in the 60s, but I don't think it's been rerun, at least not as far as I know.
I'm sure this will be the beginning of a Munsters renaissance in Europe. Okay, you got. What is the name of that shot?
Dragula?
Dragula.
That's the name of the car.
It's so campy and perfect. Somebody should have dressed up as a pinball machine for the Met Gala this year.
Oh yeah, they had all those crazy outfits.
The theme was camp.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I really thought that was going to be like a. I mean, he's so good with like live catches. So. Okay. How much is it? Ooh, how much are the super jackpots?
It depends. Depends.
There's your answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen. I think the largest one I saw yesterday was 36 million.
Jeez Louise.
The largest one I got was like 6, maybe. But you can build up all the different ones and postpone them, and you have all the modes and so forth. Is that it? Yeah, it's definitely a disadvantage when playing games like this that you maybe have had no time on or very little time on. Whereas, you know, in a couple of years, everybody will be used to this machine and know how to play it.
That's kind of still how I feel about Ghostbusters.
I mean, there are some games like that at least in Sweden you don't see very often.
I really thought
almost
that
a
was
Lazarus.
coming back. I think he could have like done a reverse backhand there.
Well, like for example, I'm really comfortable with Mustang. We had it at home for a while. We rented it from a place for a couple of months. So I'm really comfortable with Mustang, and that's a game that not a lot of people know sort of the ins and outs of. So I often choose that if I can against people, or I don't know what other games are like that people aren't that comfortable with or that aren't that common.
World Poker Tour.
Oh, World
now.
Poker Tour, yeah.
Nobody wants to play that in Worlds right now. But
And I love choosing that.
So he has Monster Madness
Yep.
lit.
Yeah.
Is that like?
It's the first sort of
Is that
mini
like Monster
wizard.
Bashy kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then.
Okay, I guess we'll never know.
And then you sort of go to the level 2 of the modes after that, I believe.
Oh, no, this is only ball 2.
Lost count.
No, because we've only
Oh,
seen
ball
one
2,
like
yeah.
twice, yeah. Okay.
But there you can see it can be a really mean machine, especially without the ball save, which is factory apparently on this one.
That's odd that
Yeah.
would be...
But I mean, they do stuff like that sometimes. Maybe a game is too easy or too long playing. Like I think Deadpool didn't have outlane rubbers, for example, from the factory, and that can be a really long playing game.
Not in my experience.
I do like the little nods to Monster Bash too, with the sort of werewolf shot on the outside and. All right.
Wow, it's going down on Black Knight. He's got 2 balls cradled on the left flipper. He's closing in on what, 80? No, 90. Closing in on 100.
Nice. All right, Morten. Let's see what you can do here. So he needs to pass 17 and needs to put some distance between him and 17. There we go.
Is that a really steep ramp?
No, it's not that hard to shoot, I think. I mean, obviously you want a good hit, but... Oh, takes a danger.
Is that 2?
No, I think that was... I don't know what the double dangers looks like on this. Sort of like... I mean, with some of them, like Star Wars, it's not that clear when it's double danger. It's like when the text is blinking, it's double danger.
That was a great maneuver to get it out of the... How do you light the Grandpa's basement?
I don't know. It's lit after a while and then I shoot it. I don't know.
You wait until the light comes on and then you react to it.
Oh, we can see that.
Yeah.
Nej, inte riktigt. All right, I guess the multi-ball right there with just a couple seconds to go.
Men det sista plats är alltid den sista plats. Ja, jag lär mig på det.
Eller kameran kan de ha flyttat. Ja, fan vad det är att stötta på sidan för att få loss en kula. Så det är möjligt, men jag vet
Ja, det är
inte.
väl bara kameran som...
Det stod bra när den började.
Ja, men det är okej, vi ser ju.
Oh.
Någonstans där blir det ena som, jag vet att det inte kommer att
You know what else I like about this? Everything's just bright and inviting and very blinky. Oh, I mean, he didn't need that, Lazarus, but that was fun.
vi är ensamma där. Så man får köpa den lilla grejen där.
Ja, bra Fredrik.
Kör försiktigt.
Spela mot Sarah på kvällen. Eller så vet du, liksom blir det där. Då kan man ju hålla det i vilket lokal som helst.
Good control there. Nice cradle separation.
Is he trying to backhand the ramp?
It starts Lily.
Jag ser den.
His ball sits back.
Frenzy mode.
So the ramp is backhandable.
I didn't know that.
Morton did. Cool.
Ja, om vi ska växa, det är helt, om vi ska växa,
Wow, the balls just want to kind of hang out there together on that right flipper.
Nej, det var ju lite begränsat. Vi skulle hålla in 3 mainspel när de börjar krascha. Nej, visst är det så. Men spel, det är där jag menar. Spel är inget problem. Det är ju inte då, men det här är
Yeah, I got the same jackpot as Jimmy.
chefen att det ställa och han vill släcka listan en gång och han vill göra det där.
Double drain. He does put some distance between 25 and 17. With 20 or whatever it is after bonus.
Between him and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Absolut. Och sen det liksom, finns det några trevliga jävla som liksom kommer som ändå där eller så som igår. Och jävla kärlek.
All right, Jimmy. The Dragula.
Jag blev spelade i ringen. Så var det, nej men kan vi inte spela? Nej men varför det?
Nice.
Jeez.
So can you light a save on either
Huh?
the out? Can you light saves on the outlanes like the last couple of games?
Don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
Ja, det är liksom vad som var.
So you collect Monster Madness in the scoop?
Ja, jag vet.
I think so.
Men det är liksom så här.
He'll show us.
Yeah.
Absolut.
All right. We have some great games coming up that we actually know something about. So.
Promise.
Jo, jag vet.
Oh, patience.
There it is.
Such patience.
Absolut. Nej, jag är helt
I kind of want him to cradle up in the lower playfield, but I guess the flippers just die anyway after the timer's out, right?
Nej, jag vet.
Yeah, but I think that the timer doesn't start ticking until the ball save runs out, I think.
Jag hellre göra vad det effekt på här så alla hade hängt med det där.
Och där är det bara ha någon
Absolut.
Did you say cradle separation for the lower play or the upper?
That's a
play
nice
field?
thing with the two sets of flipper buttons.
Nej, vi ska ju sätta oss ner och ha utvärdering och sånt som kommer att... Ja, jag har gått upp mot 70 personer eller liksom. Absolut.
His hurry up was, what, 21 million?
Our hurry up level is 21 million, yeah.
He's back at it. Oh.
That's still good. Still good. We'll see if it's enough. See if Boo can...
I mean, it's 100 million. All right.
Nej, det var inte... Nej, jag tror inte... Vi ska köra vi har ju sån ranking som ligger poängs med bara tjänare i Norge då. Så det går att räkna så att de toppar där. Plus att det blir 3 dagar med 3 turneringar före på hemma på fredag och lördag. Det här är det första gången, eller sen 97 eller så det är...
Can he? I was going to say, he lit it and collected it immediately, so efficient. So if he hits it one more time, he gets 3x?
what does he have now? Yeah, then he gets 3x, and then it's 5x or 6x. I don't know how they stack.
Eller vad heter det, norsk klass.
Landstävlingar är okej att ha stängda.
Ja, okej.
Det är det.
Ja, de ändrar det.
Men den blir ju mer äran för att vara Norges mästare då. Det blir ju, vi kör 3 turneringar och då blir det 2 platser på torsdag. Förutom de 8 som är på rankinglistan. Så 2 platser på fredag, 4 platser på lördag. Så det blir 16 stycken i double elimination slutspel på söndag. Så den tävlingen blir ju satt som ett NM då, men det blir bara 16
save.
Det blir inga winners. Jo, men det här är ju en begynnelse då. Det är ju selvfølgelig, men vi kommer ju aldrig komma upp. För då har vi
Timing something out? Thinking about his
Feelings? Letting the tilt bob settle?
yeah, that makes more sense as an explanation.
Ja, det smäller. Nej, det är bara för att det är coolt att vara med i ett SM. Ja, absolut.
Nästa vecka, då är det fotboll i SM.
To hit Kitty before he got. Oh, he's trying to backhand it. I was just thinking, why do a post transfer? So
Maybe it's easier or
yeah,
safer.
I wonder if
The called shot or whatever.
Is
like
he telling us what he's going to go for? Both of them are. Oh no, that game's over.
shoot here and here.
There it is.
Alright, let's see if he'll reach 70 million here more. You get 100 to win.
I really appreciate how the scores on this machine are in a font that is easy to read.
It does seem like
It's such a small thing that makes such a big difference.
yeah, some of the screen machines, the font or the scores are tiny, even with a large screen.
Or like
Or
like
not
an
very
Aerosmith.
legible.
An Aerosmith
Yeah.
where it's like, who knows what that is? That a 3? Is that an 8? Look at that.
Very stylized. I almost wish, like in tournament settings or something, that it would change it to something crisper, just because it doesn't have to be flashy or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's good advertising if the game looks simple on streams and stuff. That's not good. But plus, at our location, where we
Everything's on
mainly
tournament
play,
settings.
everything's on tournament settings. Extra balls are always off, etc. So.
It's too bad.
Om vi börjar på
Under no
Spiderman, varför står du
circumstances,
inte
by the way,
till?
is our home machine going to have extra balls turned off.
I was thinking of making it Papa difficult.
Du byter en bild.
Lightning flippers.
Whoa!
Oh,
Yeah,
you
de har ju
know,
börjat på
oh,
Spiderman.
it ended. He didn't catch.
Okay.
He got jinxed
Nice
by.
timing.
All right, so börjar de precis? Eller?
Ja, han börjar ju nu.
Okay, so we're watching Spider-Man vaults now.
He's already got his lend me your hand.
I don't remember what the different modes are in this, like what they're called.
I think the first one is lend me your hand.
Den kameran har vridit sig så.
I mean, far be it from me to give Tormod any advice. He's a phenomenal player, but I would use this to get black suit.
Yeah,
I just
I
don't
assume that's
see
good.
why not to do that. Although
Yeah,
he's-
Tormod's a great Norwegian player. Really good recovery skills.
like
control
that,
player, yeah,
my
nice.
goodness.
So what did you have? 290 on this?
Yeah, 290.
Yeah, this is such a cool looking machine.
It's fantastic. If they did a black and white one, I'd have it at home in a heartbeat.
Like old timey comics. I don't know when like comics went away from black and white, or like mainstream comics at least. But that would be kind of neat too, actually.
Wow, he's just phenomenal at stalking.
They have the, you know, the whatever the black and white versions of modern movies like Logan or Mad Max Fury Road or What was the other one? The Mist had a black and white version. What do you have?
We're just gonna watch
Jag vill att han...
Spider-Man.
Vi kunde se i chatten.
Oh, okay.
Det verkar som... Det finns inte så många som...
Det blir bara...
Yeah, so this is the group of 8. We'll be down to a 4-player final here soon.
Det
The main
blir bara
tournament.
den nu för
Ja, okej, ja, men bra.
vi har inget annat riktigt. Så.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen some really high scores on this. A lot of 100 million plus games. So now he has the stack, the traditional stack. The only negative with stacking them, like using one multi-ball to light the other and so on, is that you're sort of in jail a little bit afterwards. But the Doc Ock shot is not that hard, so you can get back into the Doc Ock multi-ball and then use that to start the second black suit. Or those scoring opportunities here, like the modes are really valuable. Of course, you want to use the multi-balls to play the modes. Both the villain modes and the regular modes. I don't know, I'm not sure what they're called.
Har du gjort det?
Nej, jag vet inte. Vi bytte ju till den här gruppen precis. Du var ju på en annan grupp förut.
Ja, okej.
Vad menar du?
Nej,
för allt är inte riggat liksom.
Nej, okej.
I finalen blir det ju att vi följer hela...
Ja, för då kan vi köra.
Ja. Yeah, so in the final four in a few, maybe an hour, we will be following the group from start to finish. So the players at this stage, they got to choose one machine each. And startar man på sin egen maskin som man har valt? Eller hur funkar det med starten? Eller startordningen?
De är sidade.
Ja.
Så vet du, på första maskinen som blir, då väljer jag den som är sidad sämst. Eller sidad bäst. Man väljer sin startposition först. Och sen är det den som inte spelar som väljer.
Ja, okej.
Så det blir att man måste...
Ja, så det är den. Så man får inte välja varsitt, utan det är vinnaren som väljer? Eller?
Nej, de väljer varsitt spel.
Ja.
Och sen vet du på...
Ja,
den
startordningen är den som
på första spelet är sidat och sen är det den som vinner.
Okay. Okay, so each player picked one machine, and they were seeded into start order for the first game, and for the second, third, fourth game, the winner chooses order first, and then down the ladder or whatever.
Well, Tormo just took a danger to save that.
Yeah. There's the infamous Kaylee strategy on this too, in multi-ball, to cradle up on the left and then just shoot spinner, right flipper to spinner to live catch to spinner, live catch, blah blah blah.
I'm really surprised that he's not, or he doesn't seem to be trying to stack them, the multi-balls.
No, wasn't he stacked, or had Doc Ock timed out? I don't know. Maybe he wants to be close. We'll see. 5 shots. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Okay, I stepped away
Yeah,
for a while.
he uses one to start the
Really? Okay,
other.
I stepped away for a while, so I missed part of it. Sorry.
That is dangerous.
Yep.
When it comes out there. It's really easy to...
Especially if you already have a danger.
Oh,
Ooh,
now he
and
has
there's the
2.
second one. Oh, but he goes right back to flipping.
Yep.
The ski pass on this is also, it's just not enough to really get it over.
Oh, so you can't just split it.
I mean, it's okay, but you have to just flip immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, or you could do that.
Yep. It's a pretty common strategy. There it is.
I don't know what it was, but it felt like the Doc Ock multi-balls were much nearer on this than on other Spider-Men I played.
Spider-Man.
I don't know if it's like you build up to them into multi-ball or something.
I mean, you do. You can use the black suit to build towards it. So maybe, but I think that's the same. It starts at 5, I believe, or you have 5 left after. So I guess 6 shots. All told, he's still playing and he has 40 million. So this is a good start.
Get that extra ball. Nope.
He's ignoring that. Oh, he's not ignoring that. I assumed he would get the multi-ball. Oh, he wants to start a mode.
Yeah, light lock before you get there.
No, I wanted to start a mode first. Did I get stuck somewhere?
Yeah, whenever someone makes a decision I don't understand, I just assume it's because he's operating on a higher plane.
Yeah, so this is good if he can now start the multi-ball, and he does. I assume we'll see him working on the black suit multi-ball light lock. He has points from Sandman in the middle, he has the mode running. There's lots of scoring on the table here.
You could backhand a lock shot too, orbit.
With a cradle ball? Oh, you mean...
backhand it.
You could backhand...
Oh, you could forehand it. No, you couldn't because you're cradling. But yeah, you could backhand a lock shot.
Oh, you mean from that side? Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, you mean, yeah, you can backhand the lid lock. Yes, you can.
I mean, there's no... I don't see any downside to doing that.
Yeah. Jailbreak.
Right back where he left him.
That, yes, the super jackpot lit. The mode times out.
Someone's mad.
Yeah, we have the consolation tournament running as well.
Uncharacteristic.
Yeah, unfortunate drains there.
Does he remember that he has 2 dangers?
Probably. I don't know. We'll see.
Because you do not want to, I mean, you don't want to drain whatever.
Yeah, the bonus. It's ball 1. If it was the double, I mean, I guess that's 10 million. That's good. If it was ball 3 and you had the huge bonus with the double bonus on top, then... As Atle from Norway. He was in my Tormod and Atle were in my group. They went through. I needed to win on Fishtails the last game, and I got second on Fishtails, so with 98 million or something. Yeah, I needed 160 or something. So I was eliminated. Oh. Johan Jenberg from Sweden, who certainly knows this game. He was the number 2 qualifier on this machine with 286 million. So we'll see what he can put up. The local arcade. Oh, okay. He's good.
He just did the thing that I always try to do, which is using the upper flipper to light lock.
If the ball save is on, I do that too. Otherwise, I shoot the ramp.
Especially if you've just started like a dog.
Yeah. Johan has a Spider-Man vault at his local location where he plays. That's a very nice condition with the color DMD and things. Unfortunate bounce out there.
Have Emil here, who is a Danish player. But, I mean, does he go by Ed? His initials are ED.
Yeah.
It's hard to call him anything else. It makes it sound like his name is Ed. he has, you can't see right now, but he stands very wide.
Oh.
Has like a very
He got the ball saved
distinctive,
too.
nice. He has a very distinctive pinball stance, which I can always appreciate in a player.
Yeah, if there are people playing on the machines next to him, I think he has to alter his stance.
Yeah.
But he's a player who's been playing really well recently. I think he was in the finals at the Dutch Pinball Open, that infamous match with Daniele Acciari and Johannes Ostermeyer on AC/DC, where Ostermeyer broke like 400 million on AC/DC.
He's a really lovely person to play with because he's very kind of unflappable. He's so calm, and it makes you feel calm. Maybe if he like stressed out a little bit more, then it would be a nice strategic move. I'm very generous with tips too. Okay. Cradle up. Get that black suit log.
Was he gonna?
Yeah, there it is.
Backhanded it.
So light lock with that ball. There it is.
Oh, he also. Oh, let's see.
Oh, he didn't actually get the lock shot.
No.
I really thought that was a clean hit.
Bra spel att streama eller?
Ja, helt okej.
Med tanke på hur de spelar. Eller jag vet inte hur Johan spelar. 1 miljon.
Ja, det
har varit lite upp och ner så här.
Svårt för honom.
Nackdelen med sådana här spel är att det oftast håller på så jävla länge.
Ja, men det gör fan alla.
Ja.
Ja, det verkar inte det kommer bli ett problem. Okay. Is he gonna light lock or go for the? Okay. I don't know why I really want everybody to get the black suit. I have no idea why my investment is so high in that.
See, shooting the arrows to get to a mode, get some base points. They are, of course, 7-5-3-1 across 4 machines. You want to sort of blow up the machine, obviously, and get really far. But at the same time, you want that base level score too to make sure you don't get last or third or whatever.
It's a very luxurious simultaneous train.
Oh, Pringles, can I have some?
Of course.
Nu kommer det här fram. Fina folket drar. Det kommer ett Pringles.
Both getting really hungry, and
They're not reduced.
we have
Ja, men det var...
What did you say about the body?
salt och peppar, tror jag det var något sånt.
Oh, that was the callback to it earlier.
So we're eating potato chips, probably the least stream-friendly food.
Oh, wait.
I'm having a plate of lobster. I don't know what you're talking about.
Graveyard eller... Ha? Jönköping.
Right, what can do? Kul.
Travel safe.
Did you get on the board? Did you get on the board?
I have the GC.
Oh, you have the GC, okay. Even better.
Semi-best of the rest.
He's well on his way.
73. 11. 70. 11. Tur att de har spelat med det liksom.
Seems like people also are not really going for the Venom ramp. Hey.
Du är i finalen. Så när de har spelat klart deras grupp så blir det finalen.
Ah.
En nöt.
We're having a little bit of a food break. Spider-Man can be a really long playing game. I played it at Papa maybe 5 years ago or something, and in A, and they had it so bastardized. If you got, whoa, big move, nice save. Let's see if he survives it. Yep. They had it, you know, so if you got like 30 million or whatever, that was great. I think it was like lightning flippers and fat rubbers on everything. Sort of bouncy flipper hop rubbers.
Okay, I feel refreshed by potato chips. Oh, nice little tip.
No.
Oh.
What's up, Pinball Nerd Podcast?
Who are you calling a nerd? No, that I mean we're commentating a pinball machine or a pinball tournament. So.
All right.
So this is very rinse repeat with just getting the like backhanding the Doc shot. I totally understand why people are backhanding it. Although unlike a lot of Spider-Man machines, this one doesn't seem to have like a harsh reject if you hit it too cleanly on a forehand.
Yep.
It's still safer to backhand it. Oh, that's
Do you
really
know the
tough break.
version of the
Yeah, it's Spider-Man Vault, the Vault edition from a couple of years ago. The comic book based one. It's a very, very nice looking machine.
Men det är ju liksom, nu snackar vi igen,
All right, let's see what Johan can do. So he was the number 2 qualifier on this with 286 million.
And he could play it with his eyes closed, so...
I don't know about that.
Is he going to close his eyes, or...? Okay.
Third, second.
This is ball 2. It's ball 2. Oh, very nearly lost that there. Okay, got the lock shot on a little ricochet.
Yes. Oh, let's see.
Oh, I should say that the post is still there, right?
Yeah. He gets the super jackpot, as in grace period jackpot. And he gets the progress to the next one. So that's
He's gonna hit the orbit. Yep, eventually.
So the top 2 from each group will go through to the final. 4-player final coming up. Oh, big move, nice save.
I mean, well spent, because that was on its way out. And he kind of lost it that way last time, so.
Johan is ranked like 30th in the world or something. He's been playing pinball forever. He's been to IFPA many times. He got 2nd in EPC a couple of years ago.
He told me that he feels no nervousness when he plays. You just walk up and play. And that's got to really free you. And like, I don't know, there's something kind of zen about it. Like you can, and by zen I mean Nick Zendejas. He can't resist that, can he? I mean, he's hitting it really well.
This game, like a lot of the things that you shoot are not worth that much, as you can see with like, you know, the jackpot's 319,000 now. Although 5 million for extra balls is a good chunk on this machine. But all the sort of things add up with the mode points and the and so on, and the 2 multi-balls if you have them going together. And
he is so reliable with that ramp. Oh, did you see that? A little upper ramp action, or upper flipper action. You know, I don't know my words, but I know my heart. There's some podcaster that says that all the time. How many dangers did he get when he did the save earlier?
2, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So he's playing double danger here.
Let's not forget.
Five shots.
X bonus.
Yeah. He'll have some nice points there.
If he doesn't tilt.
Yeah, that's true, if he doesn't tilt. Ice combo. I really like everything about this machine in terms of the art package and the sounds and. I started Bonesaw, or whatever it's called here. I missed that, which is the switch mode that you really want a multi-ball to bring into, but.
Failing that, just getting the pop-uppers, I guess.
Yeah, I got the spinner and the pop-uppers, but I think he's going to ignore that. He's just going for mode shots. Or, sorry, not mode shots.
Okay. So he's going to clear, clear 100 here?
Maybe, I don't know. No. 20 million behind. Wait, you doing good enough? I was going to ask what the next game was. Oh.
I mean, the next game for this group is Star Wars, but we're still on ball 2.
Yeah. Of course, the locks get harder, more shots for second and third. Better not? Äter chips. Ingen standing. Nej, men vi kan inte, vi följer inte hela gruppen, nu ska vi göra nästa runda. Det här spelet är för lätt inställt. Det tar en evighet. Oh, that's trouble. Alright, so this is from the Tilt Barcade in downtown, or I don't know if you say downtown, central Oslo. It's like saying downtown London. Nobody would say that.
We could be uptown. Who has any idea?
It's a lovely city that we've seen nothing of this weekend.
I've seen the inside of this establishment quite a lot.
But we've been here. Last year we were here, and we were here a couple extra days. And there's lots of fun stuff to do and see here, like the Holmenkollen ski jump, the Opera Museum roof is incredible. The Resistance Museum is neat. There's lots of, it's a lovely city. You can tell that Spider-Man is a long playing game when we're talking about the sights of the city and so forth during the match.
I think I'm realizing, I always had imagined that I would want this as a home machine. I mean, because I've never gotten like superhero and, but I wonder if it would just feel kind of repetitive. I really like playing it, but I think it's because I don't play it that often.
It's the kind of game, like, usually you play 1 credit on it and then move on to something else, where something like Iron Man, for example, which is much faster playing, you might put in 5 credits, you know, or whatever, like, before you move on.
Ooh, didn't quite get it. Wow. That was just the one.
Yep. It does have some depth, though, with the multiplier. That was the rolling post-transfer.
Didn't
That
quite trap. Okay.
But I mean, there's obviously some depth here, and it is fun, but maybe if I had it at home, I would set it much tighter. I'm glad he shifted it back there.
So, this is a huge opening for Johan, too.
Yep.
Let's see what that can do.
Depending on how close Johan is to multi-balls and things like that, this is definitely a door for him to walk through.
And frankly, getting 100 million on a ball, while, you know, not a given, certainly far from impossible.
Yep. And then on the 3rd ball, you also have that double bonus if you've gotten the skill shots like Atle just got there. There is another skill shot where you short plunge to the top flipper and you shoot the left ramp. It's like a super skill shot, but it's too risky and you don't get all 3 of them usually. So hardly anyone goes for that. But
Too long lane.
yes, well, not that ball, but or that credit.
That's just a run of really bad luck.
I mean, it can happen.
Yeah. I'm living proof.
I played it in a tournament a couple of years ago where neither of us got a single multi-ball and we ended under a 10 million, both of us. Which was weird. But it happens.
Okay, I don't remember where he is with this. Oh, okay, 4.
The location has 2 giant projector screens. One of them is showing the stream, and the other one is showing like the groups and standings and things like that for the 2 tournaments that are running right now. This is the main tournament, and we're in the top 8. 2 4-player groups playing 4 games each. Top 2 move on to the 4-player final. The other tournament is the consolation tournament, which had about 50 players that were not through to round 2 of the main. And that was the 4th tournament of the weekend.
Double. Okay. I might sit and hang out for a second. No, did you see his little head shake? Just shaking it off.
The double. In-N-Out Burger reference almost.
He does not need that much, and he's gonna have double bonus, so he doesn't want to tilt at all.
I'd be careful not to tilt and then obviously play this out. Oh. Double danger, you can't really do much. Let's see if he can get control. He lights the lock.
He lights the lock.
He's going for the other lock.
Yeah.
He's gonna accidentally get black
there it
suit.
is.
Okay. Look at that. See that? He's shaking his head. Okay. I would almost guarantee now he's gonna pass.
Yeah, it's very likely. I don't know which lock this is.
Tilted.
Yeah, unless he tilts, which could happen.
I don't see him tilting. He doesn't he's.
I'm curious. I'm curious which lock this is as well. We'll see if he shoots the left orbit or right orbit, I guess.
You think it would accidentally have happened by now?
Yeah. He's gonna take the side ramp shots, maybe. Nice control. Just ignore that. Let's see which lock this is.
This is the last one. That was the last one, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, no, sorry. He put it on his hand. Yeah, that's lock 1. That's
Oh, okay. Oh, that's that's right. Then it's the back of the suit,
Yeah.
and then or whatever. The more of the suit, and then is it called black suit on this one as well?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Nice control.
Okay, so he's past,
Yeah, but he's still playing because there's a fourth player.
of course. And the fourth player is, also a superlative player, so. And he hears the crowd.
Is that barely a smile there, maybe?
That was, for Johan, that was a really big smile.
A lot of teeth.
He's a character. Oh, okay, not the same luck there.
Battle Royale.
So this is shoot every villain twice, right? And where's the Royale jackpot? You can tell that mine didn't go very well.
Whatever is blinking, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've played it through. Wherever it's lit. I don't think I've committed it to memory.
So let's go through the villain shots here. You have Sandman,
Sandman in the middle. You have Green Goblin on the left, the blinking green
Doc Ock,
stuff. And then you have Doc
is
Ock.
Venom count
Yeah,
as a villain here?
Venom,
Okay.
the Venom ramp.
You would think one of the Avengers would come and help, but no.
That predates the various.
They should do rules updates for the Avengers based on how it's how the franchise is developed.
They could do that for Game of Thrones as well, now that the show is finished.
That's
or
true.
finishing, I should say. Where they could. Oh! Real jackpot, there it was. 4.7.
I mean, less than a extra.
Or is
ball.
it the last shot that's available? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, it's the right ramp. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Control.
Semifinal.
Check corner pluses.
Double danger. Okay. What a ball.
Big applause for you, Juan. Well played. Oh, I don't have coverage down here. Do you have words?
I tend to have it on this side. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you check? Oh, you can't check. Hold on. See, I have it in my email. I might have downloaded it.
Can I get into those two?
No.
Får vi ta den senare eller?
No. I don't have the time. Oh, 6:30. 6:30 is our lunch. All right.
Okay. I mean, let's not cycle through the high scores list too fast.
You want to bask in your
Yeah,
own
that was my moment in the sun.
self-reflected glory or whatever?
Okay. It seemed like he was trying to like a lot. Do you know what he was going for?
Maybe. I mean, some people do the, try to get lock hits with the while the
Ball save?
ball save is going.
Okay. For what reason would he be doing a post transfer?
Maybe he's
Do you want
struggling
to
with the
backhand
backhand.
the lock shot?
No, because it's not lit. So maybe he's struggling with the.
Ooh, that seems risky. Just the one danger? Okay.
I mean, it's possible to do on this, but he still needs 60 million points, and that takes a while.
All right, which lock is this going to be? Wait, he clapped, so it's got to be the third one. Okay. Yep.
It's not. Yes, lock one. Streamar i EM också.
Oh, nice.
I Köpenhamn?
Love from the post again?
Kanske, vi vet
Ja,
inte.
okej.
Så det är inget vi ska säga högt.
Maybe.
Det kommer bli.
The center post luck there. Or skill. Nice control. Ah. Doc Ock shot, maybe?
Oh, definitely. Did that register? No.
No. Yeah, this is
He seems to be losing a little bit of his accuracy. I don't know if it's nerves at this point. Because
I mean, it's been a long weekend, it's been a long day, and it's been a long game, so, I mean, even 60 million takes a while, you know?
Yeah. He's been phenomenal all weekend.
Yep. Yeah, the Danish,
have all of these players.
the Danish players have played really well. I think they got first on Friday, second inside yesterday. And some incredible scores. Denmark is hosting the European Pinball Championships of 2019 in September, I think. I think the cap is 360 players, so we'll see how many they get. Usually 2 years ago it was capped at 256 and that filled up. Last year I think it was capped at 300 and I think they were close, maybe 280 or something like that in Finland, which was a great tournament as well. Mattias, är du med? Är det final?
Första också.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Hur många spel är det? 4 eller 3 eller vad känns det? 3. Vilket är tredje?
Sorry?
Vilket är tredje?
Demolitioner.
Okej. Vilket var första?
Roadtrip.
Nice.
Alltså jag kan säga jävligt tur där, för han hade ju satt alla långa, så satt han perfekt skott in på multibollen. Denied, rakt ner i mitten. Hade han satt den så hade han vunnit. That's normally not, but here is...
Alright, so we're gonna switch machines here in a second.
I just went to Miami and that's everything I got. Nothing else.
Du körde bumprarna och så Miami? Ja.
Nej, det var det.
Ja, av misstag eller?
Sen så, ja, den var ju så hård.
Ja.
Sen så körde jag det skottet runt istället. Så får du ju automatiskt Miami. Den targeten här.
We had time to
Ja, det visste jag inte faktiskt.
Nej, för du har ju 2 target där som styr.
Ja, som växlar. Ja.
Så träffar du den så får du automatiskt så går du ner till Miami.
If you're only going to do one thing, Miami is
Ja, men det är ju typ 100 mille bara spinner.
And the spinner was quite nice.
Alright, so we're watching Star Wars.
Good luck
This is
on,
a Star Wars LE, as most of the machines at this location, they're LEs. I think the only non-LE in the main tournament is Black Knight, which is a pro, but they're getting an LE shortly. Okay, Atlas player 1. So he did the R2D2 strategy, which is the most common strategy, I would say, because you're close to multi-ball. You only have one mode to multi-ball, both for the Death Star and for Endor.
And of course, you want to just light Endor because it's a much easier shot to make.
Yep.
And just like on ACDC, you get a really nice backhand circle there.
Yeah, you can sort of loop that or whatever, the RAM.
I've noticed that the strategy here seems to be just get an insane multiplier on the video mode.
Yeah, to do the Han Solo strategy, but we'll see. The Leia, yeah, we'll see Han Solo. The
Fan
Leia,
vad Emil är lång.
the Leia strategy can be good for base points as
Han är
well.
väldigt lång. Ja, det är allt som fanns där.
Han kommer väl
Men det är
luta sig
den
framåt
dåliga.
lite. Han kommer luta sig framåt lite. Ja. Hur gick det för dig?
Thank you!
Vad hamnade du då? 6 eller något? Eller åkte du ut i förra rundan?
We have a nice Blair Witch Project kind of homage here.
Nobody look at the screen, you'll get seasick.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Oslo's experiencing it very quick.
Alright, so
Det här är bra.
the only character I really don't really know is Luke. Other than that, Leia, Han, and R2-D2 can be great strategies depending on what you want to do.
Ja, men det är ju den dåliga. Vi måste köpa en till sista arm.
Vi ska ha den kanske. Vi skickar ut den när det är kanske.
Vi gör om den.
Ha den som reservering. Ha en 3+.
So Han is close to multi-ball with Tatooine, Hoth, and Endor. The 3 modes per planet are based on if the character was there in the movie for that mode or for that scene or whatever. So Han is a good. Oh.
I mean, that's unfortunately that's pretty typical in Star Wars. It's such an incredibly mean game.
Yeah, it can be really mean. I mean, it's the kind of game where you can end up with 100 million, or you can end up with billions. And then of course you have the other. So you get the skill shot on the screen you get automatically. The one on the little screen you get if you hit that light, and that's a bonus multiplier. Then you have a force target that's cycling as well, and if you get that skill shot as well, and that lights the mystery.
So has everybody moved on from R2-D2 and is now playing Han?
Maybe. The positive.
Is it less fashionable, or is it just?
I mean, it tends to ebb and flow. The advantage to R2-D2 is I think his multipliers time out slower. All right, so Tormod did the 5 TIE fighters to get the TIE fighter hurry up, which brings him
I thought he was letting that go.
to 27 TIE fighters already. He needs 35 to get the TIE fighter multi-ball. So if he can get another hurry up, or it's quite the Lazarus. Okay, so he shoots a yellow shot, so that starts the hurry up on the Death Star shot. We'll see if he moves the multiplier. He does not. He ignores it. He goes for Hoth. Why doesn't he take the hurry up?
It's a really excellent question.
Alright, lets that time out. Just lights Hoth for the multi-ball. I guess that is safer, but I still would have taken it because it's just 2 hurry-ups for that multi-ball. But this guarantees points, so now it's video mode, and then it's multi-ball for Hoth. So the mode... is he going to hit the multiplier a few times before he does the video mode? That also gives him, you can see that there's 3 TIE fighters on there, so that gives him TIE fighters shooting the multiplier. Of course, shooting the TIE fighters, as Yoda said, was reckless.
Oh, jeez.
You are reckless, or whatever. It is. I mean, it's not reckless. It's
Your Yoda
dangerous.
impression is reckless.
Alright, so you're doing the Leia strategy with Tatooine. I like this strategy. I think it was Colin McAlpine at Pin Masters that sort of unveiled this to the world. Nice, he gets the hurry up. Quick points. So with Leia, I think it's the 3rd or 4th mode, I can't remember now. It says on the info if you cycle through. The 3rd or 4th mode, you get 3 extra multipliers on there. And that... Oh!
My
and that can be valuable for lighting the mode and for playing the mode. Wow, there's some fast and loose play here. But Leia is great to get sort of a base level of points, and then also you're close to Tatooine. If you want,
You know, he had a lot of he had a lot of good fortune mixed in as well. Sorry.
Okay, so ball 1 went pretty quickly. The scores on this were not overly high in qualifying. I think there was one person at 1 billion, and then everybody else was like, 700, 800,
Was it
200.
you?
No, I played. This was my worst game. I was number 2
Really?
qualifier.
This is like your go-to
Yeah,
pick.
it is. I mean, we have it at home. But I had 105 or something, and then I had 300.
wish they'd take that
It's terrible.
hard-boiled egg off the playfield. Okay. Oh.
All right, so what's this? It's a 4x
He
multiplier.
hasn't hit anything yet.
Oh, there's some. So you want to use the boost, and you want to avoid asteroid
And
pieces.
you can go much further over to the sides than it seems like you'd be able to.
Yeah, you can sort of spin around, basically. And this can be really good points. I had like an 85 million one when I played. I think I had 7x multiplier.
Yeah, we saw earlier a 200 million
Yep.
for Thomas Stenbeck.
All right, let's see if he does the 2. I like doing the 2 because then I have two multi-balls back to back, but it depends on the situation.
But you have to finish both of them.
You have to finish both of them, but
I don't think it's a good trade-off for this situation, but I'm not in a semifinal.
Yeah, you have to get over that threshold.
It's
so
a very it's higher risk, especially when he's really has the one ball left to play with.
But the payout is so huge when you have those 2, and you can start the Death Star one from Endor, then do Endor after that.
I would always go rescue the princess first, because I think that's much easier to get. Kommer inte ihåg vilken karaktär han spelar med.
You can see it's Han. See
Where
which
do you
one's
see it?
lit
Oh,
pink.
yes. Thank you. So he wants to go Hoth then.
Well, I mean, he has lots of options, but yeah, basically. Because you don't want to shoot the Death Star a bunch of times, and you don't want to shoot Tatooine a bunch of times. Although he only has to shoot Tatooine once because it's lit, but you still want to start that from Hoth or Endor because it's much easier.
I can't believe that was only
Big
one
move.
danger.
Yeah, it's only one danger. No, the danger blinks. The text blinks, I think, when it's the double danger.
Why don't they just add 2 dangers for the second one? Why? We don't
Maybe
need
with
this,
an update. All right, so now he has Hoth lit. So does he do Hoth and Tatooine? So he has 2 modes to go. Oh yeah, that's the video mode. He's gonna do the video mode, of course, because he's playing as Han. So Han's mode is the video mode, and then you have the multi-ball lit, and he can start it from any lit planet shot, mode start shot.
Oh.
Yeah, I only has a 2x multiplier, so the stakes are pretty low here.
But the multi-ball's what you're going for.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if I'm sure this will get an update at some point. I hope they can tweak the multipliers a little bit. I want them to tweak the ball save.
I think they should take away the outlanes.
Just put rubber.
Yeah, like playing like bowling with bumpers. That's what I need.
No, I like the game. I really enjoy it. We have had it at home for a little while. We're renting it. And it's fun to play, and there's different ways to get through the machine and like different strategies that work in different situations. Then that is really fun. I think the sounds and video is really well integrated. The graphics.
Did you
We had the
see
audible.
that?
He had the audible.
That was so great.
So I hope they do update it. It is still in production, so.
Which game do you think is faster, this one or Black Knight?
Black Knight. There's stuff closer to the flippers, so the returns are.
These are really hard fought points.
Yeah. That's why I think Johan's Leia strategy was actually good, because you get that foundation, although you get that with Han usually as well, because you're so close to the multi-ball.
If I'm in tour mode, why not do TIE Fighters?
But
close.
it's not quite enough. I don't know where the next hurry up is.
You get 5 more.
Yeah, he'll be at 32.
Is anything else as...
No, I mean, he was ignoring the hyperspace. I mean, escape can be good because the game is so mean, so
need
it opens
35,
that
right?
gate. Yeah, 35.
Yeah, I would go TIE Fighters.
I probably would too.
I mean, getting
Well, it's only ball 2. It's only ball 2,
Is
though.
it only ball 2?
Yeah.
Why did I think it's ball 3?
I don't know.
Now I extra double plus think you should do the TIE Fighters.
That's true, because then you'll get it from, if you don't get a hurry up, you'll get it from incidental points. It also only has 2x, so it's not huge, but I don't know what you get if you go through it perfectly. Maybe 20 million if you have 2x. I think it's a fun mode. It's, you know, like an Indy 500 or something. Like it works.
It makes sense.
Yeah. And there's enough skill. Like I've gotten better. That's pretty good.
Very accurate prediction.
I've gotten better at it, sort of weaving and things like that. So there's definitely some skill to it. All right.
It's multiple time?
Yep.
Or is he gonna, is he gonna pass? I was like, why is he lingering on this?
So this is the group of 8. With the final, we'll have sort of people's scores and things like that up, and we'll follow each machine regardless of what they pick. So the players get to pick one machine each.
Who in the world chose this?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to choosing this. Maybe some people are afraid of it. Maybe some people don't like it. Maybe, I don't know. I'm pretty comfortable with it, but it is a little bit of a toss-up. I think Yigi is doing well. I mean, we'll see. He was in the lead after the first ball, but he's player 4 here, so. And he won Spider-Man. So I think Spider-Man was their first game, I believe.
Oh.
Does he have an out-of-ball? No? Oh, he did have an out-of-ball.
My goodness. My heart was in my throat.
So the out-of-ball you get from the forced targets. You get those down a couple times, or 3 times, or whatever it is. Eventually it lights. And it's on the zap button on the lockdown bar, and it'll be lit red if you have it, and you hold it down for like 2 seconds, and you get the out-of-ball. If that also turns off your multiplier, so it's important to press that button once more after you get the out-of-ball to turn them back on, or move them into position while you have the ball saved. Now at 10x, let's see if he can use. He has 10. Oh, it's going to time out. He resets it, so he has a 10x multiplier on the Hoth shot. Let's see if he can get.
Okay, well, that's one danger then.
Yeah, that's one danger.
Oof.
The TIE Fighter Super Jackpot is on the Endor ramp. Once that is lit, then you want the multiplier there. There's the. That should be 10x, right? Or did that time out? Oh, it's not on. It's not on. The multiplier is not on. He's gonna let it time out. Yep. So now he has the 3 multipliers, but they're only 2x. Let's see, what does he do now? Now he has to play some modes. So light Endor would be the easiest.
Might backhand the ramp just for fun. It's right there.
But it's not even lit for the hurry up.
It's
the yellow
right.
light.
It's right there.
The ramp is very backhandable on this particular. Oh, does he survive?
I can.
Nope.
Oh, I was like, I can't believe that it's not going to tilt on that.
And he does the gentlemanly thing and moves it back as well.
That's nice.
So as long as he doesn't danger through, which he doesn't, that will be a yellow card. Oh, Johan says he doesn't have the energy to wait around, so he just walks up.
It's not shocking. I did that really annoying thing where I put a timer on the phone and put the phone on it.
No, it's good. I mean, with some games particularly where it takes a while.
Yeah, there was a huge tilt on Demo Man, and it's just, I just thought, yeah, I'm sorry guys, I'm going to do it. So...
Okay, so Death Star. Now he has Death Star and Hoth. That's the video mode. What was his multiplier? 4x. So this could be 80 million if he does it perfectly, which he doesn't. That could still be some points. And, some player is noisily losing his ball in the side tournament. Yeah, it's a side tournament.
Yes, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay, so he does only does rescue the princess. So this is the 2 orbits, or the sort of U at the around the Death, or whatever, around that Hoth and Death Star shot, and then the left
That's...
the left orbit, and then the right ramp, which he already shot. Oh, all right, let's see if we can get control. Now he has the Death Star, the 2 purple shots there that are blinking. He needs those 2, and then he will.
Go orbit first, right?
Whoa!
I can't. This is peak Johan. I thought he was gonna let it go just now. I mean,
That was a power outlane.
Wow.
I think it's a borderline. Like, I think he's asking about it because it was.
It seems like it looked like a death.
I mean, he
save,
sort of.
It wasn't, but it looked like it.
I mean, there was player movement, but it was so fast. I don't think it was. I don't know. Yeah, there was definitely movement. So.
No, I mean, it didn't look like that.
Det var.
Let's see it.
Fråga gör. Okay, so we're gonna consult the stream, not the stream, but so alltså han. Jörgen!
Kom hit.
Alltså han rörde spelet, det gjorde han.
Ja.
Men om det var rörelse för att få tillbaks kulan, för den åkte ju cirka 700 km i timmen. Okay, so we're doing an instant replay.
I love competitive pinball so much. This is why.
Ja, exakt.
Vi kör en VAR på det här.
So we'll see. Yeah, there was definitely movement. Oh, okay. Så det är efter den här, så det är ju bara 10 sekunder sedan slutet, men svårt när den timern är 6 timmar.
Ja, men de börjar ju här.
Ja.
Tom! Vi kan lika gärna ha kvar.
Ja, det är ju efter där. Jag vet inte vad han slutar på poäng.
Nu är det ju lite en annan delay, så det...
Ja, nu är det tiltar han. Okej, nu går han fram här.
Ja.
Vi får kolla på den, för jag tror inte av skolan.
Fantastic.
So we're waiting for the video review here.
Oh, and all the tournament
Den
directors are
åker ut
crowding
här i
around.
700 km i timmen,
Ja.
och så kommer den tillbaks.
Ja.
Alltså han rör på spelet, ja. Men om det
Men
är tillräckligt för att...
I think it was a frustration touch and not
Ja,
an
typ som han
attempt to
rör
save
den
the
lite när
ball.
den är på väg ut. Typ. Men jag kan...
Men gör det en skillnad?
Ja, men jag menar om han rörde den och hjälpte kulan så är det...
Hjälpande upp. Så
Ja,
du får säga medvetet där.
Man borde inte kunna få det även om det var inte meningen.
Ja.
Men om den inte är dödsställd så är det okej, eller?
Ja.
We have to watch him
Yeah.
play his video mode again.
Oh, that's right.
Ja, men...
Yeah, we have like a 6-hour slider on the video. So
You can see
it's-
that he
it's
just commits to this even though there's still I mean, I'm judging him in a different way than you guys are.
Ja.
viktiga. Flawless är viktigt också, men
Att du har
använder du
multiplier.
boosten och kommer långt så får du mycket poäng också, men helst flawless. Och så helst mycket multiplier då också.
Okay.
Kan du göra en klipp eller något? Eller? Jag tror den kommer här nu. Vänta.
It went out the right alley, right?
Ja. Ja, men han rycker
Den var ju
precis
efter.
där.
Ja,
Var det-
nej, vet du, han får
Eller?
spela av.
Vänta.
var det- Vill du se klippet? Vill du
Vi
se?
får se
Nej, han
den.
håller inte uppe flippen.
Ja, jag tycker-
Men det är ändå... Ja, nej, jag tycker också den är
gränsfall. Men
Vänta, vi kan kolla här.
Om du vill kolla igen här.
Men han nudgar ju efter att den kom upp.
Ja,
Den nudgades efter att han var uppe.
Ja.
När den är där, då nudgar han.
Den är redan studsat. Den är redan studsat upp.
It looks like
Men
an
han gör det
unintentional
när den är här uppe för att rädda. Då är det medvetet.
Men ska vi ta en bästsave så borde du ha flippat.
Absolut.
Annars är det ju...
Nej, den är okej.
Okej. Så kan du gå tillbaka till chatten?
Interesting.
Jo, men efter den studsar. Den
Ska
har
vi-
redan studsat.
är
Och han har inte flippat den upp eller någonting. Så han rör ju spelet. Men kolla, kan du göra en fullscreen igen?
Den är ju där när han nudgar.
Kolla här. Ja, nu har han pausat innan där. Där. Nej, jag vet inte. Jo, han rör spelet, men jag...
Han rör den efter att den har studsat.
Ja, det...
Den har redan studsat. Han är precis sekunden,
Ja, jag håller med.
100-del sekunden efter.
Did he let it go, or? Är det här live? Släppte han det? Vad blev
Okay,
Vad blev det för domslut?
To
Vad
translate,
blev det? Om han tappat kulan nu
Han
då?
tappar ju kulan.
Ja, nu spelar det ingen roll. Men det är ju upp till honom.
okay.
Jag tycker det är gränsfall, men jag har ingenting med det att göra. Det är han.
Ja.
Vi har redan tagit beslutet. Så det, ja. Men han gör ju nudge.
Han gör ju nudgen efter att den är
När
uppe.
bollen är över flickrarna gör han nudge.
This is absolutely a phenomenal moment.
Den är medveten.
So Johan just let the ball go by himself, right? I think it was a death save. I don't think it was intentional, but I think it was a death save. Like he's not gonna
All right,
death
let's watch.
save in a tournament.
Yeah,
but
let's watch it.
whether he meant
I think it was more a
happen.
reflexive sort of nudge after it bounced, but I mean,
but it's hard to.
Spelar ingen roll, han tjänar
It's hard to
ingenting.
say that's not
yeah.
a death save.
Luckily,
Nej.
Exakt, och den är efter. Medvetet är det ju efter. Men det gör han ju.
It's only ball 2, guys.
all right, vi får se chatten då.
That was fascinating.
Ja, det är svårt alltså. Jag vet
That
inte.
was it was such a close call.
I mean, ultimately, it's the tournament director's call, and the tournament director said it was borderline and that he should play on. But because he didn't lift the flipper, and but of course, I don't know if that was.
You know, I can't see into Johan's heart. I can't imagine that he would try to do a death save in a tournament, except as a. So, is it a death save like a disqualification technically?
I mean,
but
yeah,
but Johan decided to let the ball go himself,
yeah.
which is actually kind of a nice.
I mean, he did. I don't think he did it on purpose. It was more. I think he saw it bounce up and then sort of moved it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree that he nudged it. It's just why he would choose to do that, except just on like a weird reflex.
Yeah, but I don't know if intention matters either, because we do things on reflex all the time.
So wait, so let's play this out. So would that be a disqualification?
From the game, he would have lost the game, right? I think that's what the rule is.
For IFA?
No, yeah, I think that's what I feel. Maybe är det inte det om man gör death save så förlorar man matchen?
Ja, då är det...
Nej.
Det är därför ingen gör det.
Ja.
Är det en center brain rebound och det lost eller är det outlane här i död?
Alltså
Maybe
oavsett om det studsar in. För det händer ju ibland med multiboll och såna grejer i gröten.
Då missar vi ju...
Interesting. Well, we move on to ball 3. So does he get to play a third ball?
Jag menar, egentligen så är den ju borta när den åker ner i mitten också liksom.
sista gruppen kör Black Knight.
Ja, okej.
Andra gruppen kör Black Knight.
Ja, men vi fortsätter här och ser vad som händer. Vi ser om det spelar någon roll.
Ja. Det är svårt att se flipprarna. Har vi...
Ja, du har inte riktigt. Flipprarna är för låga här. Yeah, we're getting it fixed here in a second. It's unfortunate because that affects sort of everything going forward. Like even with a 0 on that game, maybe somebody in the chat knows because I don't remember. So is it DQ on the machine or the round or the tournament?
It's gotta be on the machine, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess intention doesn't matter.
No. I mean, it's. I mean, that's a tough one. I'm glad I'm not the TD for this.
Because we were watching the clip, we didn't get to see what happened while he was waiting. He just let the ball go.
We watched the replay like 10 times. So. Yeah, it was rule. I mean, the tournament director said play on. The tournament director had the impression that the move was sort of after it had bounced upwards. So that was the ruling. The other tournament director, Tormod, who's playing right now, I don't think he was super happy with that ruling.
No, but then of course when you're a competitor.
Yeah.
So, this tournament just got even more gripping.
That was interesting.
I've actually never seen a death save in a tournament before.
Yeah, not even, like, I mean, it's not something you do. So it's not something that I would say happens often. I mean,
Well, congratulations to everybody in the chat for being able to witness this historic moment in pinball. Thank you.
I'm sure it's happened many times in a ruling.
For me.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I've played, 400 tournaments.
Cool.
All right, I forgot what game we were watching and what's going on.
How many years until he stops hearing about this?
Yeah. Nice.
Oh man, I remember launch parties.
Yeah, I missed the launch parties.
That's like not a thing in Sweden.
Yeah, I never do death saves. There's no point. I sort of learned them at one point, but then it's like, I don't know, I sort of feel like it's, if I get to the GC or I get the wizard mode with death saves or bangbacks or whatever, it sort of feels hollow. It's not a skill that's needed, I think.
I don't think it's particularly, it doesn't make it more fun.
No.
Bizarre.
Alright, we'll see. I mean, it could play.
So he's not disqualified from the game?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I mean, he played on and then bricked right after.
Oh, I thought that, okay, so he did not release the bet.
I do kind of miss those, the little metal piece under the flipper from the Bally Williams games that prevented that, or made it harder at least. I don't know if that would have helped with this particular situation since the flippers were down, but
I can understand why that was the ruling. I'm glad I didn't have to be the one to make a decision. Okay. Should we go back to Hoth? Should we go back to Death Star?
didn't quite. Yeah, the Death Star shot is much more difficult than on the Pro.
And he's trying to backhand it? What do you think about this trying to backhand it? That would have been actually great if he tried to death save just then. I mean, I realize that that's not a thing, but what's the purpose of trying to backhand Death Star?
Maybe it's backhandable on this one, I don't know.
I feel like I saw him do
372.
it one time, but wow.
De är klara. Men kan du följa den gruppen? Okej, de ska spela Monsters. Star Wars Monsters. Okay, so we're following that group. So they're switching to Monsters, and we're switching the rig to Monsters. We have three rigs. In the next round, this is the round of 8. In the final, so which is the next round, which will be 4 machines for 4 players. We will follow the entire group, and we'll have the standings and all that stuff.
I mean, I'm sure that the other group is like their games are tremendous and like look what's happening. But I feel so weirdly invested now in what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
with this
and
group.
situations like that can sort of throw. I mean, Johan ended up winning anyway, but it can sort of throw off your groove.
But he would have won if he had just let it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough like that. And it's the same thing if you have a stuck ball that takes a while to get out or whatever. Whoa, harsh drains there for Bo.
Bo was the one that pulled us aside and showed us how to play this at the beginning of the weekend.
Yeah, we had never encountered it before. I haven't seen one in Sweden yet, at least not at our locations. Whereas they have one in Copenhagen apparently. And this location has a pro and are getting an LE in a couple of weeks. It seems like a fast, mean game, but I like at least this particular one. But I like it so far.
That post-transfer seemed like glacially slow compared to how it was going earlier. Maybe he's better at it than your girl Karen. I'm gonna charge my phone.
Okay.
I have to go grab a charger.
Alright, so we're coming up on the culmination of this long weekend of pinball in Oslo, Norway, at the Tilt Barcade in the center of town, or center of the city. Started with 70 players on Friday in the main and side tournaments, and then we had, I think, 63 player knockout tournament on Friday. There was a 50-person consolation tournament today. No, we have 3 camera rigs, so we can show 2 at a time, and we can move one. Oh, big move. And he tilts. Alright. Actually, just in the previous round, in the round of 16, no, it's not wireless. It's wired, but it has some sort of special copper wiring, and there's like a 40-meter... there's like a 40-meter cable, a 30-meter cable, and a 10-meter cable or something, so they can move them around different places, even far away. So it works pretty well. All right. Yeah, the trough area or whatever, the right by the trough, there's the metal piece that the sort of ball guides the ball into the trough is metal, actually. That's true. Good point. All right. Let's see. Oh, and this does not have a ball save. So this is a Munsters LE. Yeah, nobody was going for like the super skill shot here. They were all going for the top or short plunging because it was pretty mean. So something like that, and the top skill shot is always the right rollover lane. So you shoot Herman a few times, 4 times maybe, and yeah, there's the super skill shot, the ramp as well. There's the super skill shot where you hold down the 2 flippers, you shoot around, and shoot it into the basement. I don't know if people were even going for that, though. They were generally trying to get Herman hits, just to get to that multi-ball and get to some safety. Emil had one of the higher scores of the weekend. I think he put up 180 million on this. The highest score I think was 200 million. Starts the multi-ball. See if he works on Lily. He does. Again, I'm really new to this machine. I've only first played it this weekend, and I've only put up 3 credits on it. So.
Oh,
Är
really?
det sista avgörande också? So the group on...
The group playing to the right.
On left.
Or sorry, she's Louise. Even in English, I can't do that. The group playing on Black Knight, 3 of the players have 13 points. So, and only 2 of them are gonna
Go through.
Although, how many points could the other person have? It has to be fewer than that.
Alright, yeah, 13, 13, 9, 13. So this is the deciding game.
So Bo's definitely out?
No, it depends on how it stacks, right?
Oh, because he could get
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it could be out.
goodness.
So Peter has 13 points, Bo has
And,
9 points,
Johan-
Jimmy has 13, and Morton has 13. So it's anybody's game.
And you won it.
Exciting. Oh, you want to go to that?
Okay, so
He's clear because he has 19. The closest one has 15. The next one has 9. And the last one has lower than that.
Oh, okay.
And no one can get to 19.
Oh, okay.
this is perfect because then the
Or no
lightly
one can-
controversial player will continue into the final. And the excitement builds and builds. So I want to watch what's happening on Black Knight.
I think the standings are on Match Play. If you search for TPO on Match Play, matchplay.events. I don't have the link in front of me.
Oh, and they're on ball 3 of Black Knight.
Yeah, I don't know who's who, or I mean I know who's who obviously, but I don't know which score is which.
Remember when I said I was more invested in the other group? How quickly things change.
Yeah, Johan is through on this one, and then one of the other players we'll see. And
So if Bo has 9 points and everybody else has 13, then he has to get first.
yeah, and then it has to shake out
So he would have
Yeah.
he would end up with what
16.
it's 7-3 it's 7-5-3
5-3-1.
okay. And
Thank you for the link. Hur många poäng har du?
Nej, jag håller inte.
Nej.
Det hade hållit hvis den hade gått igenom.
hur känns det?
Ja.
Hur känns det?
Nej, det är shit då. För jag menar att han hjälper. Så det ska bli morsomt att höra vad andra säger.
Ja, det var lite... Ja, du får se chatten sen. När videon läggs upp.
Vad var konsensus då?
Ja, ingen konsensus, men...
Ja men du
Ja.
du får kolla nu även.
make sure you scroll it back down though.
Tilt Pinball Authorities.
Nej, konsensus egentligen var väl att det är Tournament Directors beslut när det är ett gränsfall,
Men om de fick
Ja.
de skulle ha sagt ja men det är klart att det är den så.
Vem är det som säger det? Det är någon som håller det uppe. Ja, men de som säger det.
Oh, and Klippen? I don't understand what you're saying.
The guys who are saying this, it's like, who are they? They're having
I don't know.
It's the highest. It's like yeah. It's like the UN of pinball.
Can you scroll it back down?
Of course. Ja men det blev spännande.
Who's this guy?
Han?
Yeah, it's like, do you know him or?
Ja.
Nej. Men jag brukar se honom i chatten.
You scroll down now.
Ja.
Yeah, I think we were around 70. I don't know what the actual we ended up being. I think there were more than 70 registered at least. I don't know how many actually started, but most of them. I think there were about 30 plus players. We were 64 players in the pre-tournament on Friday. Oh, it didn't bite. Jimmy.
No. No, it is.
That's his first lock, and he starts a mode. Okay.
Whatever this fire monster scorpion-y thing, that's less terrifying to me than the hand. What is it? The hand of hell?
I don't remember what the hand is called. Maybe Hell Hand. As the second year that they're hosting this tournament as the Tilt Barcade in Oslo, Norway. And last Hell Hand, thank you.
Thank you. I sound like my mom. Just for Mother's Day, I'm going to be a mother who can't remember basic names of things. Sorry.
And last year, there were a lot more players this year. It was a really popular event last year, and everybody liked it. So there was a good word of mouth. So a lot more people traveled to it this year. So last year we were around 50, and this year we were around 70.
On the bus on the way here, I was looking at the roster thinking, why am I even doing this? It's really just a very high level of competition.
And
it was great.
The top two in Maine, the first place in each tournament gets a free hotel weekend and entry into next year's tournament. So they get to stay the weekend for two at a hotel, and they get entry into the tournaments as well. So it's a great way to get players to come back. And in Maine, it's top two.
We have Jimmy and Peter Anderson.
So the results are in from the other group. We have Jimmy Johansson, and with 16 points, he goes through to the final four. And then we have Peter Anderson from Denmark, the great Danish hope. With 20 points, he wins the group, and they're both through to the final. So that means Norway's Morten Søbeskogen and Denmark's Bo Mertens are eliminated with 14 points each.
So then we know 3 of the 4 players in the finals.
So Johan Jenberg, Peter Anderson, and Jimmy Johansson. Did I say? Oh, and Johan, yeah.
Oh.
And then one more person from this group. I've really enjoyed this tournament and this location. It's so central in town. It's a huge barcade with a bunch of arcade machines and shuffleboard and pinball and
really great atmosphere.
Arcade. Yeah, there's 3 bars.
Was that an angry tilt? He moved the machine. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, 3 bars across 3 levels and right in the center of town. Very convenient for hotels and dining, and there's all sorts of restaurants within just a few hundred yards in any direction.
Yeah, I really recommend this tournament weekend, but also just the location in general.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and then just the caliber of machines is incredible. There's so many LEs here, all the newest machines.
The quality of the projector is so, I was shocked. I feel like that's a better picture than this is.
Maybe we should turn around.
Yeah.
I mean, angry tilts are okay.
I think it's a matter of etiquette.
You just cannot. You shouldn't tilt after the ball is already gone, basically. So no, throwing the machine around after the fact. I believe that can result in yellow cards or red cards. Obviously, no hitting or kicking the machines, anything like that. So he goes for this.
Watching these games makes me want to get my hands on this machine today.
Jag tror jag. Ja, den heter i alla fall. Plus, it's a very good tournament to travel to, actually, because of the 4 tournaments in 2.5 days. It's an insane amount of pinball. It's really fun.
It's a reasonable amount of pinball. Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I just had the best time.
Yeah, it was fun. You can take a boat to Europe. There's various cruises to England and things like that. Make a tour of it.
Vad kostar det?
It's true. Head over to Southampton.
Yeah.
Do they still do the Southampton crossing?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more like a cruise now. So there's cruise lines that have sort of around the world cruises, and that can be a leg of that. So you can just go.
You know, I'm not mad at a cruise.
Yeah.
That was also a really excellent decision to use that tilt morning. We're only ball 2, yeah? Yeah, ball 2.
Each.
See if another Dane can make it into the final, or if it will be a Norwegian.
Is this going to be no Norwegians left if Tormo doesn't go through?
Tormo and Atle are out, then yeah.
I thought Atle couldn't go on because of points.
Oh, maybe.
I could be mistaken. Oh, I think you can take the boat from Galveston. If that's good. Is this not helpful? You know what? Let's just plan some travel together here as a group.
Yeah, they should have flights where people can be, put under and flown sedated or whatever on a stretcher, basically. Åker du?
Ja.
Ja, kul att se dig.
Ja, samma.
Vi hörs av sen för EM.
Ja, det är fint.
Bra spelat.
Ja. Ja, tack. Detsamma. I was finished.
Well, it's a letdown when you're so close, right? So, yeah.
People always break your heart.
David var...
Men han skulle ju förlorat matchen och fått 0 poäng. Men han skulle kunna... Eller det är bara det spelet han förlorar på, va?
Det är bara det spelet och det är ingen varning.
Och då hade han gått vidare ändå ju. Ja, jag vet inte. Eller jag kanske. Jag vet inte. It was borderline. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a pull over it because of that. If this, you don't want that as a player either. So if this happened to me in a tournament that I'm TDing, I would rule it as a 0. But I don't know. It was borderline, I would say. It's $11,000.
but
Oh yeah, I know. In American money it would be 11,000, or maybe same in euros, roughly. 11,000 euro. That's crazy.
She's a beautiful setup.
Yeah, she is a beautiful setup.
Okay.
jag syns att du vet, man gör det Jo, men alla andra är överens.
För jag tror frågan också är om även om han rör spelet överhuvudtaget när den är på väg upp, om det då skulle räknas som viskning. Men
jag känner,
det är ju era beslut liksom.
Det är en jättesvår fråga. Ja. Och jag ser vad det liksom åt båda sidor. Men jag känner mig väldigt bekväm med beslutet som vi tog över den. Liksom,
För den var ju redan på väg upp när han
men självklart så kan man, det spelar väl ingen roll om det är fotboll. Man kan ändå vara oense över beslutet.
Jo, men det är ingen... I så fall kolla i slow motion och liksom mäta liksom. När börjar han röra på sig?
Det är ju
som bra i fotboll.
Continued heated debate about the death save.
Det är liksom jättesvårt beslut.
It's tough. I think in the future, if this happened in tournaments that I TD'd, I did not TD this one, I would probably, because there was movement at all, I would probably rule it a death save. However, if there was no camera on this game, that probably would not have been ruled as a death save, because we wouldn't have seen his tiny movement, right? And the way it bounced up, so...
You didn't buy any rubbers this year.
Oh, flipper rubbers. Is he not set up there? Yeah, the Scandinavian Pinball had a table set up upstairs here selling flipper rubbers and LEDs and things like that, and I meant to buy some rubber feet and pinball rubbers from them, but I forgot. I'll have to order it. Well, thank you for watching. I think it's always fun to see, from different locations and different machines and things like that. It's fun, like get an insight into different parts of pinball culture. It's so different all over the world. Got nice multipliers going here.
Får man vinna pengar i Norge?
I don't know. Yeah, it is entertaining. I've been in that situation too, where you're sort of riding the train or bus back or a car.
Do you remember that in the van we duct taped the tablet to the ceiling of the van and watched the stream?
Okay. Very good stream for us losers.
Yeah, after EPC, we drove from Tampere to the ferry to go back to Sweden, and we duct taped the tablet to the ceiling of the van.
It got kind of elaborate too, because they had to sort of eliminate, do some support beams to eliminate the shaking. All right. So player 2 didn't clear $1 million.
Wow, that is rough.
There's so much activity around the booth. It's hard not to sort of, and like the kind of ongoing conversation about the like scare quotes dead safe. Interesting.
All right, so we're coming up on the final here. So we will follow this 4-player group on 4 machines. We'll go from machine to machine to machine, so we'll see all of them. That is true.
That is an excellent point.
Maybe that would have worked great actually, and or a little bit tighter tilts maybe. But I like that the games are playable. Yeah, there's been some big moves here that usually result in just two dangers instead of a definite
Exactly.
tilt.
Yeah, I kind of felt like playing on Deadpool. Why not?
All right, we'll see what games they choose. The players each get to choose. They each get to choose one machine.
That's a nice one.